Hello, COLA or at-home kiddos. We just want to do one more mini lesson, and this is going to go with your schoolwork, what you're doing this week. So what's going to be our current objective? Our current objective is I will understand equivalent fractions so that I can solve addition problems with tenths and hundredths. So our last mini lesson that we talked about was up here. And we used this place value chart, and we talked about how now the place value chart doesn't stop just at ones. There's also fractional pieces or decimals. So now we're going to use what we know about equivalent fractions, what we've done through this whole unit. We're going to add fractions. So, for example, in the last mini lesson, so I hope you're watching this second. If you aren't, go back and watch the other one. We talked about how tenths and hundredths can be equivalent. So see here that 4 tenths, that's like 4 10 rods or 4 dimes like we looked at, equals 4 tenths. See that right there? Now 40 hundredths, that's like 40 pennies, or 4 dimes that equal 10 each, that's 40 hundredths. So it's saying, say whoa, 40 hundredths is the same thing or equivalent to 4 tenths. Okay, now we also talked about decimals, and in 4th grade we don't go to the thousandths place, but you will next year, so it's good to see it. So we, in the beginning of school, so in August, we talked about how everything to the left of a number is 10 times greater. Well, it's actually the opposite to the right. So to the right, it's 10 times smaller. So you're dividing by 10 to figure out powers of 10, the 10, 100, 1,000, etc. So, Miss Holly, you're telling me all this stuff. Why are you telling me all this stuff? Well, let's talk about it. So, for example, say you are given, I'm going to use my hands because I don't have my trusty cleaner. So I have 3 tenths plus 5 hundredths. So I need to think. I need to stop and I need to think. So 3 tenths is the same thing as 3 dimes. So if I have 3 dimes, I know that's 10, 20, 30. Now this is 5 hundredths. So I know that this is 5 pennies because it's out of 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's my pennies. I have 5 pennies and I have 3 dimes that are 10 cents each. So is everyone following what we're doing so far? Now I have to, in order to be able to add across, I have to have common denominators. So just to review, here's my denominators. Now, I am not going to multiply this by 10 because that would be 50 thousandths. That wouldn't make sense to have a common denominator. But if I think back to my multiplication and my equivalent fractions unit, I know I can multiply this by 10 tenths. Does everyone see that? So 3 times 10 is 30. 10 times 10 equals 100. So I could make this 30 hundredths plus 5 hundredths. So that would mean I have 35 hundredths. Now, could I have just counted 10, 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35? I have 35 cents. Yes, but I have to make sure that I have common denominators. Now, sorry, Miss Holly's handwriting is not the best. Let me pause this and I'm going to go get an eraser. Okay, I'm back. So now let's try another one. So now we have, 3 tenths again and 43 hundredths. And we're trying to add. Let's make this a little bigger. Uh-oh. Let's see if I can make this bigger. Nope, couldn't make it bigger. Let's bring it back. Okay, so I have 3 tenths and 43 hundredths. Now what I need to do is find a common denominator. Well, 43 hundredths is like 43 pennies, right? Or I could say I'm going to say I have 4 dimes at 10 cents each and 3 pennies. So I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 41, 42, 43 cents. Now, I have 3 tenths here. What did we say about 3 tenths? So that's the value of 3 tenths. I'm putting tens here. I know you can't see it that well. So I have 10, 20, 30. So I'm not going to leave it because I need to add across. So again, I'm going to multiply by 10 tenths. Or I use the value of the dime. So that gives me 30 hundredths. Now I'm not done. I have to add it all up. So 30 hundredths plus 43 hundredths, 73 hundredths. So you're close to $1, but you're not there yet. And I could check by saying, okay, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 1, 2, 3. Fabulous. Okay, let's do one more problem together, and then I'm going to show you what you're going to do for this week's problems. Jamie ordered 2 boards to make a shelf. The first board was 48 hundredths meters long. Okay, that's the first board. The second board is 5 tenths meters long. 5 tenths. What is the total length in meters of the 2 boards? Answer with a fraction and with decimal notation and justify your answer. So do this and then press play when you're ready to see if they match up. Okay, so we're back. Hopefully you paused and worked. So I have 48 hundredths. So I'm almost halfway, right? And then 5 tenths looks so measly. But what do I know about common denominators? I can't add something if it has a different denominator. So I'm going to change 5 tenths. In my head, I'm still thinking dimes. So that would be 50 hundredths. Oh, wait a second. That's half. Was 5 tenths half? Yes. So I should have known, that should be half as well. And it wants to know what it is together. So 48 hundredths plus 50 hundredths. Now I know this is almost going to be to a whole. How do I know that? Well, because 50 plus 50 gives me 100, right? So it equals 98 hundredths. Now it told me that I have to write it in decimal notation. Well, let's look back here. So tenths goes right here. Hundredths go here. So if I have 98 hundredths, my answer would have a 0 in the ones place. There's not a whole amount. 98 hundredths meters long. And how I know my answer is correct is because I made them have common denominators, and I know that it's almost a whole meter. Okay, so I promised I would show y'all how this relates to your Google Classroom assignments this week. So I'm going to get to your classroom. Get to COLA. So here is your COLA for next week. And I'm going to click on this slide. If it'll load. Here we go. So all you're doing here is exactly what we did here. You're going to find a common denominator and then add the 2 fractions. And then I'm going to double click on each box. See how you can see each box? Like number 3 is right here. You're going to write your answer right here all the way to number 13. And when you're done, you're going to turn it into Google Classroom. Now there's other assignments, but this is the only Google Classroom assignment. And if you look at your COLA work this week for math, let's see if it'll pull up. If you go down here, I gave you some just fun math games to practice with. And then this is the thing I just showed you, the adding fractions. And then hopefully you already watched the fraction mini lesson. And this is the adding fractions mini lesson, what we're watching right now. So, and then obviously you have Odysseyware and you're finishing up that Odysseyware part 2. I am so proud of y'all and thank you for watching and working with me. Have a great day.